Hey, it's Mike from brew-juice.com. It's fall and it's that time of year. Sometimes you don't have time to do a beer, but one of the easiest things to do really fast, really simple is to make hard cider. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you my hard cider process with a little bit of a twist, something special. This is why I like making hard cider. It's just going to be today 4 gallons of cider, of what we here in New England call cider. It's just fresh pressed apple juice. And you want to get one that says pasteurized, not, you don't want any sorbates or any other preservatives in there. You just want a pasteurized, essentially fresh apple juice product. And then as a twist, so it's going to be 4 gallons of that. As a twist, I'm going to put in 1 quart of maple syrup. So a little twist there. I've never done cider with maple syrup. I'm not really a big cider drinker, but you know, I like making stuff. I like fermenting stuff. So we're going to do a full quart, 32 ounces of maple syrup in 4 gallons of cider. So fortify a little extra sugar, and we'll see if that maple flavor carries over. So I'm gonna move the camera around and show you how I just add it all together. It's just that easy. Oh.
Thanks, Mike. That was a great little session in the garage. Now we're here at the bar and we're drinking your cider. So, do you want to talk more about your cider now?
So in the video there, I talked a little bit about what the contents were, but for you right now, shooting live, you haven't seen that little piece. So the deal is with this is that it's 4 gallons of pressed apple juice, you know, what we refer to here as cider. But there's also, so it's 4 gallons, and it also received 1 quart, 32 fluid ounces of maple syrup.
Oh, nice.
Was the addition to sort of make it what I'm calling a specialty cider.
It's special.
So, you know, I don't make a lot of ciders, but I've sort of been on this kick. Like I had the no-boil kit and just trying to have fun on a limited time schedule. So we've talked about this a lot. I mean, doing things like meads and doing things like ciders and even making wine if you want to go that route and buy a wine kit. It's basically just mixing juice and ingredients together and then fermenting it the way you want to ferment it. So this one, I used Windsor ale yeast again for this, because I like that sort of English ale yeast character with things of this nature to try to preserve a little bit of sweetness through weaker attenuation, or just maybe ester formation to complement the apple juice.
Ooh, and
stuff like that. So, yeah, so
I'm not going to.
So what do you think?
I am not going.
So what do you think? Well, I'll show this to the camera.
Oh, well, on the aroma, certainly appley. You know, I mean, it's, you know right away that there's a sweetness to it, and the essence is strong. It's sometimes when in the first ciders that I made, the apple aroma wasn't there. It was very, I don't know. It was more like hints of apple. This is strong presence, you know.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Of apple. And so then, you know, the other thing about ciders, when you're first doing them, for me, they came out really dry.
Yeah.
You know, and like the back sweeten them, or I mean, for you, you didn't actually back sweeten them.
Right.
You actually, you know, used a yeast strain that probably wasn't going to get through all the sugars, leave some residual sweetness in the finished product.
Right.
And you've done that. I'm trying to pull out maple, right? But not so much, right?
Yeah, not so much. Maybe if I had some juice by itself and fermented the same way. But I wonder if there's just enough residual character there from the maple. That doesn't taste like maple syrup at all, but it's helping. When I've made cider in the past, I've usually also liked to throw in like a pound or 2 of dry malt extract, which is not completely fermentable. So you're forcing a degree of residual gravity to help support that apple flavor. Maybe just because of, you know, maple syrup is a boiled sap. I mean, you're probably generating some amount of non-fermentables, just because otherwise it would be clear in color, maybe, right? I mean, there's something in there. I didn't add the maple syrup hoping to get maple flavor. I didn't add it in there to fortify it, because I just find straight juice on its own, it becomes a little insipid after you ferment it out, and it will get too dry. So you need some extra sugar there to sort of whatever. This is about 5.5% alcohol as it sits here. I don't love drinking a ton of cider, but I found this to be relatively well balanced.
It is. And so for maple syrup, what you're left with once all that sweetness goes away is sort of the remnants of the maple, like what's left of sap after all the sweetness is gone.
Yep.
To me, that's, and maybe some caramel, because that is the process of making the syrup, is that you're boiling down melanoidins. I think that was something we missed from the no boil kit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about
just
that.
structure.
Like,
it was missing structure,
right? I've made ciders with brown sugar. I've made them and aged them on wood spirals, oak spirals, and I'm getting a little of that.
Yep.
In the flavor towards in the aftertaste and such, and that's not unpleasant. That's for sure. That's why I was like, I could drink.
You
a
get
lot
some
of this.
maple tree in there.
Yeah, you get some maple tree. Like biting on a branch. Taking a sip and biting on a branch.
I expect this to clear up a little bit more. It's only been in the keg for like a couple of days, and I've been rapid carbonating, so I've been shaking it.
Yeah.
But out in the fermenter, a lot of the stuff, a lot of yeast and stuff had settled to the bottom. This is just what's sort of residual. I would probably, because I would like, presentation-wise, a more sparkling cider. I mean, I could have added some gelatin here to help clean it up, or some biofine or something just to clear it up. But it'll go clear on its own, just sitting, if it sits still enough in the keg.
Will do,
not,
sure.
like, violently shaking it to carbonate it. But otherwise, it's pretty good. And I've been, this is about 30 psi for about maybe just under 30 hours. And I think for me, the level of carbonation here is actually pretty good. I don't want it super bubbly.
A little bit more.
A little bit more for you? Yeah. I like it. I can drink it and not be like, oh, so many bubbles, Because I find something like this that has like no real protein, or like in a beer, to hold foam, you just get like soda type bubbles, which is nice if you like that. But to me, it's just enough spritziness that it's helping carry aroma out of the glass when you come up to it, and then when you drink and swallow it, it's not too gassy going down for me. I like it.
True. Yep. I think that maybe a couple more weeks in the keg, this is even gonna it's gonna showcase itself a lot better, I think.
Yeah, and maybe when it warms up, we'll see what happens with that maple syrup flavor.
I think this is a tremendous New England fall beverage. You might have just coined a new one.
I may have just done exactly that.
That's right.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think with those New England ciders, you're really going for like 7-8%.
Yeah.
Like that's, and I've made those, and those are major headaches. Like
major headaches
in the next morning. Yeah. And I mean that, like waking up going, oh no,
cider,
not a good
cider,
not a good night.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember many years ago when like early days woodchuck cider. Yeah. And probably when it first came out, be like, wow, this is great, But I probably maybe only drank over an appreciable amount of time, like maybe 3 6-packs of cider over that type of cider, and realizing the next morning after having like a 6-pack of cider, be like, man, this is bad stuff. I don't know how people like just really drink cider. But then again, I have been exposed to a lot of really, really great crafty cider with blended cider apples and all that jazz. This is just whatever, local orchard pressed juice they were putting in the jugs from two different orchards, two different farms for this. So.
And then it was unpasteurized, or
unpasteurized. No, it was pasteurized,
but
not preservatives.
No preservatives.
Pasteurization is just a heat process. You don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Some people will say otherwise, but preservatives like sorbates and things like that, that's a chemical process of stabilizing it. Pasteurization is just some sort of heating process to knock the yeast out.
Got it.
But it's not absolute. That's why even when you buy that cider at home, eventually it gets a little tangy.
Or it gets fizzy, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last
and the kids really like it.
Well, case in point, this year we forgot to bring in the half gallon of pressed juice that we got from the orchard, left it in the car, and then the next morning I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And it was already kind of...
Especially if it's warm enough, it'll get going.
It was already kind of
even
bloated.
with some sorbate in it, usually it'll eventually overcome that and go.
But there, no,
I know. But even with sorbates,
oh, really? Yeah, eventually. Yeah, that's what I've read about. Like you can actually ferment this. I'm like,
but it's a strain fermentation, and I think that's going to give you headaches too. right? When you stress that yeast out, this was just enough time. The yeast was like, oh, maple syrup in here. And it's like,
I can take care of that,
all right, you know?
I'll get to the other stuff later.
Yeah.
All right. So Mike's new New England fall drink is maple syrup infused cider. So check it out on your in the 2025 BJCP list. We'll get that going. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your attention. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel because we do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Cider on.
Cheers.
Sidra.